All right, so welcome to Landslide News, telling you how it went down, how it went up, how it stayed at the middle, whichever way. Good news, everyone. Obi said, I will be on palo, that I don't mind the insult. Truly, every good leader should not mind insult. But a little bit of bad news. Anthony Joshua, the former world heavyweight champion, had an accident yesterday. Sadly, his trainer and one of his friends lost their life. And you know, he just had a fight in Las Vegas or so,
I think so,
in America, where he won Jake Paul, who actually is not a professional fighter, but it was like a show, but the whole of America came out for that show. Yesterday, was traveling to Ogun State. They had an accident. The road safety have already given their own version of the story, that it was overspeeding and overtaking abruptly. He ran into a moving truck. Clearly, if you see the truck, though parked on the side of the road, not actually on the major road, but I'm sure the drivers lost control. The two of his friends, his trainer and one of his other friends, lost their life. We want to say from Landslide, we extend our love to him and wish him a speedy recovery. Yeah. Okay, all right, so let's talk about Obi. Obi, I have come out to say that Obi is quite selfish, and I know from political calculations that if you don't have your structures, it's going to be difficult for you to win election. At that level, even when you win election, there's always calling the opposition fighting back, and I don't know what he's going to do about it. He said no matter the insult, he's still in the race for the election. Philip, let me start with you.
Thank you very much. You see, people always attack me on this platform that I'm very sentimental when it comes to the issue of Obi, but I don't think so.
But is that true?
It's not true, because I am very objective when I discuss any issue, not just Obi issue. Yes, Obi said, come rain, come sun, I will be on the ballot come 2027. Whether I am going to ADC or I don't go to ADC, I will be on the ballot come 2027. Why did he say so? Because Obi was being mocked by his opponent, like Larry, the special assistant to Nyesom Wike on media, saying that Obi is going to ADC just to be a running mate to to Atiku Abubakar, and many other APC supporters had allude to this fact that the only reason why Obi is going to ADC is for it to be a running mate to Atiku, and that everybody believes that ADC belongs to Atiku, and this is not true, because if you look at the ADC, the way it's structured, it's the ADC the way it is today. The men that had moved into ADC, these are men that had their mind. Agreed, Atiku had an upper hand because having installed the present leadership. Don't forget, the ADC will go into a nationwide Congress to elect officials of the party from the ward level down to the national level, where we accumulate up for a national convention where either the present NWC will be elected or other persons will take up the leadership of the ADC. So therefore, Obi coming to the ADC, it will be wrong. It will be erroneous to say that he comes to ADC for him to be a running mate. And it also be speculated that Obi is that person that doesn't want to go stand for party primary before he becomes a candidate. It's not true. You see, in politics, you have to map out your strategy. There's permutation and everything. Like Peter rightly pointed out yesterday, that people think Obi is not a politician, that Obi is a politician. And in politics, there's political calculation. If he had done his calculation and he found that ADC is the right platform, and if he goes there with all his arrangement and permutation and strategy, he will get the ticket. What's stopping from going there? Why would people think that Obi is coming to ADC for him to end up as a vice president? Obi had been vice president far back in 2029, and he made his mark in 2023. So why do they think that he wants to go back to vice presidency? And that's why he made that response. Look, I have decided to run. Say whatever you want to say. In 2027, I'll be on the ballot for the presidency.
All right, Peter, let me take on this with you. Now, Obi as a presidential candidate in 2023 made a lot of mark. Now, from his presidential campaign, a lot of people wrote on his name and platform to become senator, governor, House of Rep member, House of Assembly member, and you cascade it down on all platform of political representation. But most of them have gone back to either ADC or APC majorly. Do you understand? Now, we should have thought that Obi should have been that rope that will hold the broom together, right? So that it will though it's one, it will have a base. There's no broom holding it together. And now everything is scattered. Now, we should have thought that Obi will ride on that success in 2023 to make it easier for him in 2027. But we are not seeing that coming through.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised because the power that been now were not the power that was then. This power that been now, all the good artists, politics, they had to quit opponents and make sure that they don't have a steady house. Look at prior to 2023 when Buhari was the president. A lot of the opposition parties were allowed to do what they need to do. I can tell you if it's now, Labour probably wouldn't have featured Obi. They would have made sure they would have frustrated it. See, it should be told, whether Obi did like it or not, Obi could have done more. That is the truth. And the 100% blame cannot stop at his board because you look at the political platform. Which party today is thriving? Which opposition party today is thriving? They all have one level of issues or other, and you cannot distance the ruling party from it. They said that they rejoice when opposition are in turmoil, and somehow they find a way through some disgruntled party members to cause mayhem, problems in the parties. Look at SDP. SDP was so peaceful when Obinema Ervane was attributed to SDP. What happened to it? Their own issue started, and as of today, it has not been resolved. It can go on and on with every party. Look at PDP, one of the biggest parties in Africa. PDP is unable to find his footing. So, blame Obi for everything. I might not agree with that because there's little or much he could have done because this government wouldn't have given that space. A party that could sponsor somebody and use state institution to grant other parties. As of today, SDP office is under lock and key. Or they have a person have access to the office. It's not an elected office of the party. It is a function which the state government support. Look at PDP office. Why is PDP office under lock and key? Because the state backs the rebel group. So this current government, that is what they are good at. They're not good at governance, they're good at politics. And you say something, you say doing what is wrong is not politics. Politics should be a level playing field for every person. And teaching out other people is not politics. So what they are doing is might not for the OP, but the truth should be told. OP had a wave in 2023, and that wave has it been sustained? Not as much as we thought. We expected much going forward, but this government has not allowed that to be. People now are more concerned about their daily lives. How many of Nigerians can be able to boast of 3 square meals? Talk about politics. Politics is secondary. They have to be alive to get to 27 to talk about voting. Nigerians are hungry. Nigerians are not safe. So for them, politics is secondary. They want their life secured. They want the future of their children secured. So until this is sorted out, they will wait till 2027 to decide what they want to do with their lives.
Okay, all right. Let me come to you on this. I said a platform that has structure. Without structure is difficult. You need a base from the ward to the local government to the senatorial seat and all that, all through state. You need that structure. Obi doesn't have that structure. That's number one. Number two, the obedient movement, which I thought Obi should have concentrated more on, also have a structural problem. Tanko heads the obedient movement, but we have not seen an extravagant or luscious movement that can stand the test of time, so that when Obi comes out on a particular platform, they will collapse it into that platform and boost Obi. The obedient movement, the structure of election, all of them not doing good.
Very well. You know, I am not obedient. I am not in Obi's camp, but I will speak on what I know, in fact, what I think Obi and obedience are doing at the moment. You see, we're in a trying time, and when you are in trying time, your strategy has to be unknown and unseen. I think one of the reasons, if it is true that Obi is moving to ADC, is that structural, problem you are talking about and is trying to cure, because the ADC is well structured. I did make a statement here yesterday that Obi is in the ADC because like minds are coming together to ensure that bad government is put to an end in this country and good government is enthroned. And I've also made a statement here that when the ADC is fully in place, there will be congresses from ward to local government to state and to national to elect officials of the ADC, which is structure you talk about. Now, speaking on the obedient movement, I happen to have, a one-on-one with Yusuf Tanku last week, Saturday in Warri, at the marriage ceremony of the King Chris Yoa's sons. And we were talking, and he told me that, look, what obedience is taking is that, look, they are taking outside the box. Because before now, when you give people position in this country, even ordinary party position, they overblow it. So what they are thinking of doing is to say, okay, we have a team. Then the team will choose a leader for themselves. So at every point in time, you have team leader from all packet of places. And if what he told me is anything to go by, I think it makes sense. Like just you have in the banking sector, you have the marketing set structure, you have the team leader and all of that. So everybody is involved. You only have the leader is just the head. It can be removed at any time. So everybody is working to achieve the goal. So if they have that spirit and move into the ADC as a block, you see that structural problem you are talking about is being cured without people knowing. Like you rightly pointed out, it is not right at this point in this country to put all your eggs in one basket because of what kind of government we have. Once they discover that this is where the opportunity is coming from, they go all out, and when you've always said it over and over, there's always a bad egg.
Let me jump in here. I can even give a little kudos to Obide movement. What happened to Kwankwasi movement?
That's the Kwankwasi.
Yes.
The Kwankwasi is still intact.
No, it's not as powerful, as noticeable as it was then. See, they know how to water down this. They know how to get into your ranks and break it.
No, but if you see the Kwankwasi movement, the Kwankwasi movement is not in every party. The two movements, the obedient movement, are quite different from the Kwankwasi movement. The Kwankwasi movement is grown and sponsored by Kwankwaso himself. The obedient movement is not.
It's natural.
It's organic. It's organic.
If I don't know when last we went to Kano, at least it's not been long. I'm also just follow me for a minute. If you get there, now, Kwankwasi movement is like a culture. It's like a religion. Every other Saturday, even on Friday, you stay with that cap. But last time when I was there, it is very few people. So
let me ask you a question. Who formed the Kwankwasi movement?
Kwankwasi movement?
Yes.
I can't
sponsored by Kwankwasi.
That's how I was going.
See, whether you sponsor or him, but they it down.
I was answering your question whether you have not seen that effect you expected from the obedient movement. So because I had a privilege of meeting with the head of the obedient movement, who is a Tanku, and I asked the same question, and he did explain to me. That's what I'm letting you know and letting the public know, that the obedient movement is actually waxing stronger because of the time we are. They are also aware.
If we look at the effect on ground,
yes.
I'm not saying what's on paper and what's on ground, or what your intentions are two different things.
Yes.
By now, I should have thought that the obedient movement should have had a ward level in that respect. Of course, they are not a political party, but they are a movement. Ward level, for example, now let me give you an example. We see the Rattle movement. Rattle is a movement that's led by
Very Dark Man.
Very Dark Man. It's a movement.
That's what I'm saying. I said their strategy is. Wait, you see, no, I know where. You see, that's what if you'd have listened to me, that's what Tanko has said. That they are going to have this team all over the place, and they will have team head, even in street. It's not going to be restricted to word alone, because what he said that the moment you say word and say chairman, the person will go to the opposition and trade with it. That's what is happening. They will trade. When you say, oh, this is the man that is the chairman, is the executive, they will go to the government and say, I am the chairman of this.
Okay,
so that's what they are trying to avoid.
Okay, so when they had the obedient movement in the last election, did people trade out? No.
They wouldn't say no in that regard, because a lot of things happen at the polling unit.
People are saying
things happen. If you actually hear what happened, a lot of things happen at the polling unit. We don't say it didn't trade out, and you cannot compare this rhetoric movement to political movement. Rhetoric movement is a non-political movement. Once they become political, the city government will not allow you to strive. It's not opposition.
It is not only the city government. We as people, we are fond of that. Once we so much respect office, say I am the officer, I am Mr. They will trade with it. They will go to the government and look, I am the one that is in charge. I am the chairman or I am the secretary. Just deal with me. Whatever thing you want, I will do it. This is what the obedient movement is trying to avoid.
Okay, well, no matter how cautious or careful they are trying to be, the first thing out there is to put your feet out there. You cannot know how deep a river is until the president will put your leg inside. And you also be foolish if you carry your two legs at the same time and put inside. They say na small that they put leg, you will know how the river dey. We need Obi to put his leg out and let him do something.
And again, if I can jump in before I close, a lot of things is right now on Obi decision. A lot of down tickets is right now his decision, and a lot of them, I feel sorry for them, because if Obi make this decision late, it could affect them. Imagine Obi joining, example, move the ADC and move in late. Those people that wanted to ride on Obi's wave, a lot of them will be cut off.
Okay, so the strategy.
For me, I think he should decide early.
We'll be looking at his strategy and see how it comes up with. But Obi say in days. All right.